guys, Lou here from LT's Custom Woodworks. Welcome to the shop. Today, another dollar. Today I'm back on the bedroom suite build. I started that 3-4 months ago, I believe, and then I ended up stopping, and because I do it in between. This is personal, so I got to make sure I take my customers taken care of first before I can start jumping on my projects. But we're back on that build. The only thing that's left on there is the nightstands and the bed frame. So today I'm going to get started on the nightstands, and I'm using maple. So I got some 3/4 inch maple plywood here for the top, and then I got some 3/4 inch maple stock that I'm going to cut into 1.5-inch strips for the edge banding all the way around, and then I'll bevel it on the router table. This is sitting at the tabletop, or the nightstand top, is going to be 22 inches wide by 17 inches deep. I already got this plywood already cut, and now I'm going to start ripping my stock to 1.5 inches. Now I took the time to cut this 1.5 inch maple stock, and I mitered them so it wraps all the way around as an edge band. I will biscuit joint this in, and then once it dries I'll sand it all down, and then I will bevel the top edge on the router table. Now that I got my marks, I'm going to start to cut my dominoes in. And the setting I got it set as the lowest setting. And then when I do these, I am going to change my setting to go a little bit wider. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room to line up the corners this way. So I'm going to start to glue the one end only on all my stock pieces. I just find it easier this way. Now that this dried overnight, I'm going to sand it down on both sides, get everything cleaned up, ready for the router table. I'm going to run this through the router table on all the edges. I'm just going to chamfer them a little bit. And it gives it that really nice chamfer. I will sand it down a little bit to clean it up. I have some stock maple here. I got them in 8-footers. I'm going to cut these at 26 3/4 long. These are going to be the legs for the dresser, and then this little tongue that I have here, I'm just going to rip that off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut a groove all the way around for a panel to slide in. And again, that's going to be a maple panel. So I'm going to take this to the table saw. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch deep all the way around for a panel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this fence back a little bit to widen this gap up to fit a 3/16 plywood. And I'll keep sneaking it over until I get a perfect fit. I got all my pieces sanded, ready to go and cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to cut my dominoes in. Now I already marked them. I'm going to cut my dominoes in to join them and slide my panel in. So I'm going to start off by adding some biscuits to the top and bottom pieces first. It just makes it a lot easier. I'll do it to both sides. One down, one more to go. I took these out of the clamps. They sat overnight. They're all ready to go. I sanded them down. I got a little bit of sanding on this one to do. And then I went and cut these spacers. This is going to be the back. This is the sides. Hopefully you can see there. That's going to be one side. This is going to be the other side. I'm going to drill some pocket hole screws. This is going to be the back. I will have a back panel. This one's going to be the top. And then there'll be another one across the top as well. And then I got these maple boards that are going to go on the bottom. This is going to be for the front face frame. I still got to cut them down to size, but this is going to be the face frame. Here I'm going to use, I'm just going to use 1.25" pocket hole screws, and I'm going to secure that into place. Another one at the top. I'm going to pin the back side here into this board. You're not going to see it because there's still a panel that goes on the back of this, so we're okay there. It's just to hold it in place while I screw it in. Now I can get started on the face frame. I'm just going to cut it down to size. So on this maple stock, I drilled some pocket hole screws. One's going to go on the bottom, small one in the middle, and this one at the top. And I will screw those into place. Now I got these trim boards, as you can see there. I will cut it down to size, and I got more lengths there. And this is going to go on the side like that, so it matches the dressers. And of course I'll cut it down to size, and I'll get this bevel on this other side as well. I got my drawer slides I'm going to do next. I got to put some pieces in the middle so I can screw my drawer slides on. And I got to do 4 pieces, 2 for each side. And after that, I can start cutting my panels for the sides here. Now what I've done is I cut some riser blocks. Now I have something that I can screw my drawer slides to. One's going to go there, one's going to go here. I'll space them out properly, measure them up, and screw them in with pocket hole screws. So I cut some riser blocks for the bottom here, and I'm going to use these as spacers for these pieces. That way I can get it level the way I want, and it's easier to install the drawer slides. And I'm just going to pocket hole screw these into place. And then for this side, for the top one, I just cut 9 1/4, bigger riser. Now it makes it easier for me to secure that into place. And I'll just slide it over and secure that into place and do the same thing to the other side. Now that I have this cut for this front face, I'm going to rip it down to the size I need, and I can use this half on the other side. And that will just dress up the front. I've cut it to 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel this side here so it matches this. And I'm going to do that on the roto table. Okay, so what I got here is I'm going to put this flush with this front. I'm going to mark the back. I'm going to pull this back. The first screw, I'm going to make sure that it's even at the top here, lined up to the marks that I made at the back. And I will be using number 8 1/2-inch screws to screw them in. And I'm going to drive about 2 or 3 screws. This is a 14-inch drawer slide, so I think 2 screws should be enough. I'll pull this out, and I will drive this screw in. I like to use a hand screwdriver for when it comes to stuff like this so you don't strip. Okay, so now that I have my drawer slides are in place, these pieces, I'm just going to glue them and pin them into place with some brads. I'm not going to put a whole lot of glue, but just a little bit. Flush at the bottom, even on the side, and I will put a pin, about 3 pins on the whole thing. That was a double shot, wasn't supposed to be, but, and one more here. Now there is a piece going up on the front. of this as well here. But I'm going to do my drawer fronts first to see where I'm at before I can cut this one in place. I'm going to start making my boxes for my drawers. I'm going to be using this jointed pine. And I'm going to start by cutting the height of the boxes, which I'm going to make them 9 inches. And then of course the drawer fronts on top. I'm going to run a dado for my drawer boxes for my plywood. I'm using 3/16 of an inch plywood as my bottom base. I got the blade raised up to 1/4 inch, and I'm going to kick it back 5/8. Sorry, you know what? I'm going to go 1/2 inch. Once I run all my pieces, I'm going to sneak the fence over a touch. That way I can widen the dado, because I'm just using 1/8 of an inch blade, and I'll just keep testing it on the plywood to make sure I get a good fit. Okay, I got my plywood cut. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue these together. I'm not going to glue the plywood because you need it to free float, adjust with the humidity and stuff. But I will glue the boxes, the sides of the boxes together. Now normally I would pocket hole screw everything together. But this time, because it's such a small, it's a nightstand, it's small enough, I'm going to glue and pin them together. I figure, why not? Perfect. We are using number 8's 1/2 inch screws. I got a spacer on the bottom, one on each side. I pulled it out so I can attach the front first. And that is looking good. I'm going to cut 1.5 inch strips of maple stock for around the door front faces, which is going to wrap around the door panels. 1.5 inch at the top, 1.5 inch at the bottom, and it wraps all the way around. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark for my dominoes, and I'm going to put I'm going to put 2 on the sides, and then I'll put 2 on the you know what, I'll put 3. 2 should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to put my dominoes, I'm going to glue my dominoes into these pieces first. I find that it's a lot easier to work with when you do it that way. So I'll glue those up on all my pieces. And I already cleaned the mortises out, so there's no sawdust in any of them. Make sure that they're always cleaned. Okay, we'll put these in the clamps. I don't got any small clamps, they're all tied up. So what I'll do is I'll just use these big ones. Now that these are all dried overnight, I'm going to sand them down and get them all nice and flat, and then I'll take it over to the rubber table. I got the doors all sanded, everything's ready to go. I am going to put this molding so it matches the sides at the top here. And I'm going to take it over to the router table, and I'm just going to bevel the edges just to soften it up to give it that nice 45-degree angle. And I'll do it only at the top. I won't put anything at the bottom. And then I'll do the doors. Now this molding at the top here is a lot thicker than the ones on the sides. The ones on the sides are only a 1/2 inch thick. This is 3/4, so I'm just going to take it over to the table saw and cut a 1/4 inch off. Now that's looking good. Really good. I'm just going to pin this, I'll glue it and pin it in place. I'm going to get started on the drawer pulls. Now, unfortunately, I'm out of the screws the length that I need. So I got these long ones. I'm just going to cut them down, make them fit. I'll figure out the length. I'll cut it down on the grinder, and should be okay. I'm going to start off by centering the drawer pulls and start drilling the holes. I got my screws cut and are ready to go. And of course it does need another sand as well. Now normally when I do my drawer fronts, I always do the bottom first. I put a spacer on top of the door and then put another one on top. This one I'm going to do from the top down. Reason why is I just want my margin line here to be where I want it to be at the bottom. To be a little less, it doesn't bother me. So I'm just going to use the 1¼ inch screws to drive through the holes of where the door handles were into the drawer. I'll pull it out, screw it from the back side, and it should be good to go. Now I've had this in already once, so it's just a matter of finding those same holes. Now for the bottom drawer, I will put my spacer push it up against, make sure the sides are lined up pretty good. Now we're ready to mount the top. I'm going to keep it flush on the back. There is a back panel going on this as well. I'm going to keep it flush on the back. I'm going to have a 1/2 inch overhang on each side. Nice. Now we're ready for the back panel. For this panel here is the last of it. I am going to just shoot it in with some brad nails, and I will be using 3/4 inch. As I was sanding, I just realized I didn't bevel the edges on the door fronts. So I'm going to take these off, and I'll run them on the router table just to soften up the edges, and then we're ready for stain. Okay, the color we're using here is weathered gray. And it's the same process as always. Brush it on. And then wipe it with a rag within a few minutes. Okay, now we're going to do the doors. I'm going to apply a sand and sealer, and I'm going to put a generous coat. I'll wait about 20 minutes to a half an hour for it to dry, and then I'll put 3 coats of pre-cat lacquer. This is a Chemcraft product that I'm using. Love this stuff. It's the way to go. This has got 20% sheen. Not the sand and sealer, but the lacquer that I will be using afterwards. And I will put a coat every 15 minutes, and I do not sand in between coats. There's no need. Once you use a sand and sealer, it pretty much takes care of it all. Now that it's been all sanded down, ready to go, I'm going to spray 3 coats of pre-cat lacquer. Now that this dried overnight, it's looking all good. I'm ready to install the drawer slides. Now for our drawer handles, we're going to put those on first and then screw the drawer fronts. We're going to screw our handles on first and then our drawer fronts. I'll put 2 more at the bottom. I'm very happy and pleased. And that turned out really good. That is that. It is complete. Now we're on to the bed frame is going to be next. This turned out really good. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.